My name's Judith Howard. I'm a retired professor of chemistry at the University of Durham in the UK. First met George at the very first Eritrea school on direct methods in 1974. I was in the same group as George, but really I can't remember the name of the person who was our tutor, but George knew more than most of us, even then. Well, I kept in touch with George ever since that Eritrea meeting, and I went over to Cambridge and picked up a copy of Olex, which he was already working on even then, very early on, and I took the programme back to Bristol, which we used like many people did at that time. George was really very helpful, and when it came to wanting to write a grant, which we called Age Concern, and this was a joint grant with Oxford University, David Watkin, which enabled us to start developing Olex 2 further than it existed at the time. This was in the early 2000s, and George was really helpful in many ways, helping us to get that started. And when we were working on it, he just was there. You met him at PCAs, ECM, IUCR. George was always around and always helpful. Well, George in many ways would strike you as scary. He had those big eyebrows, big bushy eyebrows, and he'd look at you from his height. Well, I always felt much shorter than George, of course, and he'd look down at you and you'd think you're about to say something wrong, or you just had said something wrong. But he always finished things with a smile. He had an endearing smile, and actually he was always helpful. And the looks and the smile I shall always remember.